Hello, everyone. This is Daniel Badillo. In this podcast, I'll be talking about group development. Specifically, I want to start by introducing Bruce Tuckman's 1965 book publication titled Tuckman's Stages of Group Development. In this publication, he detailed the 4 stages of team building, which are forming, storming, norming, and finally performing. Later on in 1977, he added a 5th stage named adjourning. Before we start enumerating Bruce Tuckman's 5 stages of group development, I want to start by mentioning that in some occasions we have ample time to form a team who possesses a set of complementary skills and experience in order to work on a specific project. There are specific occasions where we have the flexibility of assembling a cross-functional team in a company to identify the root cause of a problem. Furthermore, we can sometimes gather a group of workers or staff members within a church or an organization to work on product or process improvement activities through an array of different formal events such as Kaizen events, success events, and maybe even sometimes later process audit events. However, forming a team from all levels of an organization is not an easy task. Assembling a group of people with multidisciplinary skills who can have a sense of mutual cooperation can be of a challenge even to the most skilled professional. For this reason, I want to introduce Bruce Tuckman's 5 stages of group development because they can be very beneficial to you. As we enumerate these 5 stages, I will also provide some professional counseling as to how you can improve your group's activity and your group's cooperation. Dr. Bruce Tuckman defines his first phase of group development as forming. And in this forming phase or stage, the group is excited to have been able to join the group, but they are usually uninformed of the goals or of the objectives that are going to be laid out. And Tuckman explains that the team members are typically in their best behavior and remained open-minded regarding the future action plans that are going to be detailed. However, though these individuals have been grouped in a team environment, the team members tend to remain independent and in great anticipation of the challenges and the opportunities that lay ahead. If you are the champion of this meeting, the first thing you probably did was simply send a meeting notice. And in that meeting notice, you enumerated or tagged certain coworkers within many departments that possessed a certain skill set that would be beneficial to your project. Sometimes when we look at our pool of people, we have to look at people's availability. Sometimes we would like a specific team member to join the group, to join this project. However, they may be traveling, they may be working on other projects, or maybe do not have the time that it takes in order to allocate their resources to this very important project. So as you champion this particular meeting and this particular project, know that beforehand that the individuals that are joining this team do not have initially all the information that is needed. They're simply there to form the team. Like Dr. Tuckman said, they are in great anticipation of what is to come, and they are there waiting for you to provide an agenda so they can have a clear picture as to what the course of actions are going to be. The second phase in Dr. Tuckman's model for group development is the storming phase. And in this phase, Dr. Tuckman explains that when your team members start to get to know each other, they start to compete for control. Sometimes there are individuals that do not like the role and responsibilities that they have been assigned. Sometimes they want to assume a leadership position and have certain control within the group. And this is where the storming begins. So this phase is typically categorized for a power bid. However, you as a leader must take complete control so that you can have cohesiveness within your group. If a group is able to really master and come out of this phase triumphant, then and only then will the project gain momentum and traction with your activities. In my opinion, you must remind your team members that they need to develop trust within one another and to stay focused at the task of hand. Usually during the plan, do, check, act, we enumerate who's going to do what, when, where, and with whom, and usually there is a timeline that is developed. So as team members work with one another, they must develop trust and know that the overall objective is not only going to benefit them as a group, but it's also going to be highly beneficial to the key performance indicators of your company. The third phase in the model of group development is norming. And norming is when your coworkers have already gotten to know each other and they start to appreciate their colleagues' strengths, their abilities, their skill sets, and especially their contribution toward the project. They also start to resolve their differences and they put these differences aside so that they can focus on every task that has been enumerated in the project. According to Dr. Tubman, the fourth phase on group development is performing. In this phase, cross-functional team members start working toward common goals and bonds are strengthened when everyone fulfills their unique role. As a leader, you can increase or decrease a person's role and responsibility, and if someone joins the team or leaves the team, it will not affect or disrupt any type of performance. The fifth and last phase in Dr. Bruce Tuckman's model for group development is adjourning. This involves completing the task and breaking up the team. The adjourning stage is when the stages of the process deals with the separation of the team as a whole. All the tasks have been completed, all the goals have been attained, all the objectives have been met, and now the team has to be broken up. And even though there has been great success in achieving all the goals and objectives, some of the team members may find it difficult to separate from their team members as deep and close relationships have been attained. However, the team must be broken up in order to embark on a new project which will require a new cross-functional team. So now that I have enumerated Dr. Bruce Tuckman's model for group development, let me provide some counsel as to how you can improve your group's activity and cooperation. My first counsel during the forming phase is to develop the correct cross-functional team. If in the past you had team members who brought a lot of drama, who brought a lot of conflict, and who did not work well with other team members, you might want to refrain from selecting such individuals. Sometimes this can be hard because those are the individuals who may possess a certain expertise on a subject matter, but whenever possible, ensure that you do not add fuel to the fire by introducing a bad apple to your team. I also want to counsel during the forming phase to have a clear agenda or a project charter that can define the intended objectives. Don't go into a meeting aimlessly. When possible, request the participation of a team member who has already worked on past projects and activities so that they too can provide leadership, offer guidance, and add cohesiveness during your continuous improvement efforts. Finally, during the forming phase, I want to advise that you have to be prepared to lead. In the forming phase, you must be prepared to direct the team and provide upfront leadership and control, as people are initially unaware of how they will contribute to your team efforts and the activities at hand. Now I will provide my second counsel when you are working in the storming phase. The first thing that I want to advise is that you have to alert your team members beforehand that there will be potential conflicts and possible miscommunication when assigning roles and responsibilities. Second, you must resolve conflicts in a timely manner. Don't let disagreements linger for too long. Furthermore, encourage the teams by providing the forum where questions can be answered and inquiries can be cleared up immediately. Last but not least, during the storming phase, try to pair team members who share similar interests and share synergy. I have found that when team members desire the same outcome, they will work twice as hard and can be twice as committed to each other and toward the task at hand. My third advice is for the leader or champion who is engaged during the norming phase. My advice is to be fully engaged with your team members. Don't just delegate roles and responsibilities and sit behind a desk, assuming that everything will go smoothly. Your active participation before, during, and after the project is vital to the team's continual success. Finally, during the norming phase, reduce the stress level amongst your team by providing the needed resources and capital that is needed for success and momentum. My fourth counsel now is to be applied during the performing phase. During this phase, grant your team members with the necessary authority for the decision-making activities. Furthermore, assess your results. In other words, compare and contrast the results with the intended outcomes. When you compare and contrast, you'll be able to find out whether or not your team has met their milestones and if they are on track in meeting the intended deadlines. Finally, my fifth and last advice is for the champion during the adjourning phase. At the end of every project, you must recognize both the team's and the individual efforts and allow the teams to actually come together and celebrate their accomplishments. Don't forget to document the lessons learned that can be applied to your future project, but also take the time to congratulate each and every one of your team members for all their efforts and for contributing with their talents, their abilities, their skills, and of course, their valued participation throughout the project. If you follow Dr. Bruce Tuckman's advice for group development during the forming, storming, norming, performing, and adjourning, as well as my counsel throughout these different phases, you will have great success in all your group development activities.